Hey traders and investors, it's George Berger here. I often talk about how it's important to look at the market not in a vacuum, in other words, not through a single factor model, but also looking at it relative versus other asset classes, seasonalities, and also versus volatility. So I've done something very straightforward. I've taken the VIX, the S&P 500 volatility index, and which measures, of course, the implied volatility of the options in the S&P 500, and I've drawn it against the actual price of the SPY, which is the ETF of the S&P 500. So the volatility here is actually drawn in blue versus the price in yellow, and you can see this chart. It goes back a few weeks, it's 15-minute increments, but a few weeks back, and you can see the VIX here on a relative basis has sort of marginally started to perk up a little bit versus price. Now in this case the relative move hasn't been extremely notable unless you really zoomed in a little bit more, and you can see here we see this a little bit more clearly that there is more of a relative rally in volatility at this very moment versus barely a slump, in fact a flatlining of the stock or the SPY. So the more closely you follow this kind of relationship, in volatility or implied volatility should often be a leading indicator of that. So this is a very straightforward concept, but I think something that's extremely important for traders in just about every time frame to follow. And the more you see divergences, in other words, one thing moving without the other, the more you can kind of find these anomalies in the market, particularly if you see volatility spiking without price. Oftentimes that will lead price to follow to the downside. In this case, of course, the relationship is inverse between price and volatility. Hope this makes sense. As always, if you got any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle is SteadyTrader, and I'll see you in the next video.